You're all set?
Call to order the Westlake City Schools Special Board Meeting for Monday, August 11th, 2025. Roll call.
Kraft,
Here.
here not,
Here.
Fanukin,
Here.
Lamb,
Present.
Lizinski.
Present.
Thank you. Will you all join me with the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We do begin always with our mission. We educate for excellence, empowering all students to achieve their educational goals, to direct their lives, contribute to society, as well as our vision. The Westlake City School District will provide a dynamic, student-centered learning environment. Our district will be characterized by high achievement, actively engaged learners, mutual respect, shared knowledge, pursuit of new skills and capabilities, collaborative learning, willingness to take action, a team commitment to data-driven continuous improvement, strategic planning process, and tangible results. Thank you all for joining us tonight, and thanks to those who are online. Moving to the approval of the agenda, I am going to add an executive session to the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second. Discussion? Roll call.
Approving the agenda with addition of executive session for matters of personnel. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Lizinski,
Yes.
Fanukin,
Yes.
Kraft,
Yes.
Lamb,
Yes.
here not,
Yes.
motion carries.
Moving to the hearing of the public may address the board during the periods of the meeting designated for public participation. We, the Board of Education, do not engage in public debate, especially do not have a public discussion about an individual student situation in this setting. Each person addressing the board shall give their name and address. If several people wish to speak, each person is allotted 3 minutes, so the total time allotted is used. During that period, no person may speak twice until all who desire to speak have the opportunity to do so. The period of public participation may be extended by a vote of the majority of the board present and voting. Is there anyone that wishes to address the board at this time? Seeing none, we'll move to the treasurer's recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. President. We just added a couple of then and nows to get them paid. As it's a special meeting, nothing out of the terrible ordinary. I do want to say the CT Taylor fees, this is the work at DIS. Obviously, they have not earned all 275,000 this month, and the board did approve up to 275,000 at the June 27th meeting. I did not put a PO in place at that time because it was the end of our fiscal year. And so some of the work has been completed and they billed us before I had my PO in place. So that's why it's to them now. I'm asking for the full amount. Right now, it's only, I think, about $30,000 of work that was completed before the PO, but I put it on the full PO line. So that's all I have in front of the board. So obviously it's just one item.
There are a motion to approve superintendent's recommendation 3. I'm sorry, treasurer's recommendation 3A, the resolution to issue that certificate.
So moved.
Second. Discussion?
Are they still on track schedule? We know.
Yes, so we have about 2 weeks left before the school year. We have a little bit of delay in the class, but things are moving along well, and we do believe it will be completed before students come back.
The glass is here, the materials are here, there was one hardware piece that wasn't. And then that, my understanding, was coming in today. And so they're able to start putting the glass in. I will say that even just kind of looking at it, they did, the construction workers did a great job with the masonry at the bottom. It flows very nicely. They did a really nice job with the ceiling and the wall. And it really makes a difference because it looks like it belongs there. And I think with matching the style of the windows that are currently there, having that connect the office and the vestibule is really gonna be nice. And I went over there today and spoke to some people, and one of the things that I know that the folks in DIS are looking forward to, and it may seem like a small deal to add that second door. And so you understand, Dover Intermediate School was the only school we had that only had a 1-door buzzer system. All of our other schools have 2 layers of buzzers. Now, One of the issues with that is you have parents and students coming in and out of the school. And so you could be in session during the day and a parent comes in to drop off a lunch, they're walking out and another parent is walking in. A lot of times what people do is they're kind, they hold the door open and the person comes in. Now, when you have that happening on a second layered door, to where even if somebody held that outer door open, now they're in your vestibule, there's still at least one more buzzer for that person to get in. You know what I mean? So it's something that having that extra layer is just, it's just a really, yeah, it is. It's nice to have.
Are the security elements gonna be ready too?
Yeah, they were, that's one of the things. So they didn't do the glass today, but when I was watching them, they were moving some of the electronics. And I think one was maybe for a light and another one, then they need to move, because they're gonna take the current door and just move it. And I mean, literally the same door. And so they're just gonna rework that. That's what we have. So it should be.
Looking at Dr. Segray, and I think about it in the technology world with tool authentication, if you're adding those layers of protection where you added a chance to hit over there as well. And have the chance to provide.
The craftsman, will make sure it always looks like it was him.
Right?
I think it will, and even more so because if you recall the outer office glass. That when I say outer office, from the office to the hallway, to the interior hallway, it was like that glass that had chicken wire in it. And then all the other ones are kind of like this, like the silver panel and glass around it. So even replacing that with the silver panel, it's gonna all kind of flow away. Should look good.
So do you anticipate this being on time and on budget for your budget?
Budget wise, I'm not sure. I don't.
I think in our last conversations, I'm expecting it to be right on budget. But just in the world we live in, I doubt it.
I think about the 5-year forecast specifically for PI, I think we originally, and maybe the eventual plan was more extensive. I think we put that spending savings, which is 500,000.
That's
Of
correct.
course, be a lot less than that.
Well, that's where you're right, because we were originally talking about building an external structure, which then complicates that significantly. And it was actually one of the ladies working in the front office who had the idea of saying, well, why don't you just use that space inside and to make the vestibule inside? And like, well, that's a good idea. So they're the ones who operate it, right?
Anything else there? Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. Moving on to the superintendent's recommendations, Dr. Guy.
Sure. Did we vote?
We know we didn't vote.
Oh. Roll call. Bacteria to win.
You're not,
Yes.
Fanukin,
Yes.
Kraft,
Yes.
Lamb,
Yes.
Lizinski.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. Moving on to the superintendent's recommendation.
First of all, thank you for picking our work session and turning it to a special meeting. This is the time of year, at the end of this month, we will be bringing, well, next week, we're gonna be bringing back our staff. Soon to follow, our students after that. A lot of things to kind of catch up on, get voted in. Prior to that, some of these items that we wanted to get wrapped up, I have a resolution to approve our strategic plan, our last work session. Doreen from the impact group came and presented, took feedback, adjusted the plan to reflect that feedback. Prior to that, met with numerous stakeholder groups, from families to support groups, to staff, to students, to community members, to really be able to get feedback in order to create this plan. We're excited about the result and the final deliverable. And it's on the agenda for you this evening. Then I just have a resolution to approve a contract. This is Huddle. If you're not familiar with Huddle, if you have heard of that, it is HUDL, it's not spelled as that. This is a program that OHSAA has an exclusive relationship with. In some sports, such as football, you have to exchange tape. you need to, so your opponent, you have to exchange that. And then this also the software can be used to take practices or games, and then, or the camera can be used for that. The software can put it in the packages for the coaches for them to be able to do that. And also, for students putting together highlight. So if you do have a student who is trying to play in college or take a next step with it, this is what every district is using.
And it's across all the schools.
It's, well, I don't think we have it for baseball, actually. So I do believe volleyball, basketball, soccer, and lacrosse and lacrosse. Yeah, so anything on that main field too.
Okay.
So, but the contract goes across all of our sports. And then I have in 4C, seasonal employment for a summer worker, some additional supplementals, coaching positions in 4D. And then 4E is extended time. This person was left off of the last meeting and we're just shoring that up. If it so pleases the board, I would be very comfortable. I'd like to do 4A separate with our strategic plan, and then B through E would be appropriate to put together. One last thing that I asked Mr. Kraft if I could mention before you get moving on it, because there really isn't a place for my report. In our last meeting, we did approve our handbooks. And we received an email today from the Department of Education and Workforce that clarified instructional time for the cell phone ban, to where they did state that instructional time meant the entire day. It does not exclude times like all travel or lunch at the high school level. This is gonna be a little more difficult at the high school level than that's kind of the plan. That's the plan we already had, K through 8. But, when you look at those grade levels, they have homeroom. There could be a collection of phones, they can do things like that. High school doesn't have like the homeroom where you meet and finish the day. And so we're going to have to bring back high school handbook and have an adjustment to it to reapprove. We do have time because I do not believe, as manager, this is supposed to go into place January 1. So we can start the year with our current plan, and then the high school is going to need time to figure that out logistically, because when you do think about 1,000 students, the first thing is just don't even bring it in the building. But you're gonna have kids in the hallway, they're gonna pull out their phone, they're gonna do this. Are you giving detentions to everyone? Are you suspending kids? Are you doing, or what, you know what I mean? It's trying to figure out now how they're going to, with the instructional time in the classroom, it was simply, don't take it out. It's not coming out, we're in class and that sort of thing. But now you're gonna have a cafeteria with 300 kids in there, and you're gonna be patrolling around saying, put it away, put it away, put it away, put it away, put it away. And so they're.
If you have conversations with your peers,
Yeah, so Rob is calling around because I think a lot of people are now kind of in that same situation, but. Like I said, it's something where we don't have to have it in place until January 1. Our thought was very simple. Those type of shifts mid-year are more difficult. And so let's start the year with we're gonna do it for the rest of the year. Our handbook met the previous interpretation, which with Barb and Liz, I did get policy from Neola and we did edit it, and I was gonna share it with you, but I'm not gonna share it until Neola comes out with something that matches what DEW said today.
There's a possibility that the state may, go back on some of that. I mean, if there's a lot of complaints and issues,
The big one's gonna be employers. Now, you do not have a way to contact your staff at all during the day.
Well,
There's been a change for students.
oh,
For our students, we have jobs. They tend to get texts saying that they need to come to work, there's been a change in the schedule, whatnot. They now no longer have a way to reach the student at all while they're in school. Now, I'm not saying they're gonna leave work, but it's a matter of being able to, hey, cover the shift from 3 to 9 tonight. Yeah, I can.
Yeah, you could see them using school email or
Well,
email and access.
So emails are blocked, so they can't get in external emails.
Students don't get
Oh.
emails from strangers.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, there's gonna be some ramifications to this. Obviously, there's the carve outs for, we talked before about someone, listen, no, no.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think there's the educational carve outs.
I mean,
There was.
really,
Yeah, I don't know if we can bypass that for certain. That wasn't clear. So like if you're doing an app creator class and then,
That was not said, as part of the Neola policy that was sent to us prior, we could still check that the principal, not the teacher, the principal could give approval for use during instructional time. And then in what we were sent today by ODU, it still does not clarify, it did not even touch that. So as of right now, to our knowledge, that has not changed. So to our knowledge, that has not changed, that the principal can give permission.
okay,
So to our
Give me an
knowledge.
example.
diabetes,
Okay,
monitoring blood sugar,
Yep.
you have a little thing on your.
right,
Perfect.
Medical.
Yeah. But nothing for an academic purpose of developing, even if it's a matter of they're taking a marketing class, they're doing social media and learning that.
As of right now, they did clarify it in the email today, which, and this is me completely speculating, that as of Neola's policy, we can still allow that with principal approval, which is what we currently plan on doing. It did not specify it in the
We can
update.
start the year with what we have.
Correct, we have
And
until
like-
January 1.
But you know, you have, to your point, you know, when we're at the high school, you have a photography class. The district does not purchase every student a large,
right,
like,
Yes, a lot.
yeah, it is, yeah.
their phones are.
A lot of times they use
Have a
a
great
phone.
quality.
And a lot of times phones cameras are starting to get better than
Right.
cameras we could have bought
Right.
5 years ago. So they're definitely, we'll see. We'll see.
I think even National Geographic gives courses in photography using an iPhone, yeah, so that's part of the deal.
So anyway, I just wanted to mention it, but like I said, 4A, I think we can approve that on its own and E through E.
I move to approve superintendent's recommendation 4A, the resolution to approve Westlake City School strategic plan. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion.
Thank you for doing that updates.
All thoughts? Roll call.
Just for the record, because I heard a couple of seconds, I have Mr. Lamb first. Okay, so, moved by Kraft, seconded by Lamb, Kraft,
Yes.
Lamb,
Yes.
Fanukin,
Yes.
Lizinski,
Yes.
here not,
Yes,
motion carries.
Is there a motion to approve superintendent's recommendations for B through 4E?
So move.
second.
Discussion. Soccer, you said was paying for a huddle in fact,
Yeah, so that,
they used it, and it, well, was it almost like a recruiting tool?
no, I think what so another thing that you can do through these subtle cameras, I believe, is you can broadcast. Right? You can, so like if there's a game going on, you can broadcast it, but Reed Field doesn't have internet. And so that broadcast component was not a part of that. And what I think soccer did, my understanding, is they paid for it to kind of, I don't know if it's a tester to try, I don't know what the full reason why they were carved out. But they were paying $3,000. And then the district was paying $13,000 that would cover volleyball, basketball, football and everything. And so when we saw that, it was like, well, why would we carve out one sport? Let's put that into the one contract together. So that's that.
Other thoughts, questions? Roll call.
Fanukin,
Yes.
Lizinski,
Yes.
Kraft,
Yes.
Lamb, yes, here not,
Yes.
motion carries.
We move on to board comments. A couple of things I wanted to bring up, both Dr. Goggin and I had an opportunity to chat with, a Westlake resident with students in the school just with regard to calendar. I know we've been very thoughtful on our calendar, looking out at the next two, school years. And One of the things that was pointed out is how, I know we've had some discussion on this in the past, was how our calendar, when you compare it to local, other local districts, Avon, Lake Bay, Fairview, Lake Bay, Port Homestead, which were Rocky River. In particular, this year, it seemed like we were extending the school year for an additional week. And can anything be done about that? Potentially starting earlier, ending earlier. It would align with other districts. We certainly have staff that live in other districts, and they may have children who school in those districts. Their kids will be off, they'll still be working weeks along those times. It was a thoughtful conversation. I know we've talked about it a little bit before. Any thoughts that you may have with regard to the calendar? Jim?
I'm in favor of moving it up a week. Fundamentally, for the start date, fundamentally, your high school students, anybody who's participating in anything fall related. They're back August 1 at Olympics. Marching band, football, soccer, track, cross country, volleyball, they're all back. The other issue you're running into is on the back end of it. Those, there are a number of students who are looking at opportunities, different summer camps, whatnot, and they're having to either choose to not do them, or they have to go in and negotiate early exams so that they can do those opportunities. Because we're still in session. I know that happened with, I believe, the Baywood had this year for at least one student.
You have the opening dates of some of the surrounding school.
What do you? Let's see, not just, well,
Dr. Goggin, I want you to know, you and your staff are always very, very thoughtful as you put this together. And again, these ideas coming from citizenry and families in the district, just want to bring it up for conversation. Absolutely. You and other board members as well. I've always been very callous to this idea. What I see happening many times during the school year is a family makes a decision. We are going on vacation, we're gonna do this, no matter what calendar is, so we're going to do this. Now, it's not all of the thing, we're going to do something, they're going to do that. The opinion in this conversation was, there are a lot of families out there, and having all of them doing something on their own. One of the things we would like is to potentially start earlier, end earlier. One of the reasons I want to bring it up is just, what are you hearing out there as well?
That's what I'm hearing, start earlier and earlier.
so just looking at, I just pulled up, this is Bay 25-26. And when we look at Westlake 25-26. Our first day for students 1 through 12 is August 26th. And our last day, I think is around, let's see. Last day.
June 9th.
And yeah, June 9th. And then, so I look at. Bay starts August 21st and ends on June 4th. And Westlake starts August 26th and ends on June 9th. So when you look at that sort of thing, it is, at least in that particular example, it is the start dates. Now, we did talk about this a little bit last time. And I guess and what I had heard from the board at the time was being open to that. But we have approved right now this year's calendar and next year's calendar.
Right.
So what I heard was the next calendar we do, make that adjustment. Are we saying that we now want to look at the 26-27 calendar instead? Because you are going to create one shorter summer.
Right.
Because if you change, if you're starting earlier after a year that you ended a little later, well, that one for that summer, now it'll even out the next summers after that. But, and then what I heard last time was, well, people may have already established plans and those kind of things. So start at 27-28. So do you want us to review 26-27? Or just when we go to plan the next calendar, that's when we make that change.
One of the things I wanted to bring it up is, the one I wanted to see is this, is it real? Is this real? Is it?
Think so, for
Okay,
sure.
all right. And, what kind of logistics are involved, if you change 26, 27? Big deals, not a big deal.
It depends. We would definitely go back to the team that put together the 26, 27.
Yeah.
Is that
Let's
right?
go to the other committee.
Yeah, we'd go to the calendar committee and try and revisit it and, you know, talk about those
It
concerns.
sounds like
But
it's
to your point,
relatively low hassle.
well, I mean, to your point, there may be people on the committee say, well, yeah, that'd be great, because then I align with, you know.
I would say, take it to the cabinet. Any thoughts on that?
I'm fine with taking it to the calendar committee, and if they're like, no, then.
Yeah.
100 to 27, 20.
Well,
I look forward to the short summer comments.
that's one. It's one.
Beginning,
Yeah.
the high school was rebuilt and how short of a summer, how there was a really short summer one year and then a really long summer the next year.
Well, I think your juniors to seniors would care, you know, but I think exactly that.
I'd stick with what we did, what we approved, only because it would make as a city, it's feedback ready from staff. Published it, it's out there.
This is, you're talking about next year, 26, 27. We're right in line with Lakewood, but there's only 4 that are showing, any data there, but. I don't have a problem with
Looking at.
them looking at 26, 27.
Why don't I bring it to them? We'll see what they say. We'll start the year and pull that committee together. So we'll pull that committee together. Yeah.
That's fair. Other board thoughts and comments?
Music Boosters will be sending out their invitation for the session workers tomorrow for the football games. And if everyone have that, I'll be there. And then WW has their first meeting next Thursday, 11th at 7.
Who's the president of WDAV this year?
I believe it's Abby Sue. That's, that is it. I don't know. That's what I thought it was. I could be wrong. Everybody be one.
It's not to be said.
And then, it's unfortunate that the golf outing got canceled. So,
The board is aware of this. We've received some very thoughtful emails with regard to special education, transportation. All of those have been answered either with a phone call, with very thoughtful conversations, as well as phone call, as well as an email. One of those emails had to do with, and we've had this conversation before, joining the lawsuits against legislators in Columbus with regard to public education. And the way I took it was not the way that the deliverer really intended it. I took it in this way, that we were really doing nothing with regard to really protecting the district, protecting our students, protecting really the way that we deliver education. And that was not the intent behind the email. What I did share with that person is that really as a board and as a district, a lot. We've reached out to legislators. We've had specific to the board, those that have special connections, reached out even more so than other board members. Letters were written, superintendent, treasurer were engaged in reaching out to legislators as well as governor's office. The fact that we work very closely with the Alliance as well. We participate in conversations as well as meetings with the Alliance to keep us really aware of everything that is going on. And we're very much a part of protecting public education here at Westlake and really throughout all of the state of Ohio. I just want you to know that we had that conversation. It was a good conversation. Every conversation I have with those folks, it's an open door. I say, let's keep this dialogue going, but much if it responds to any questions or comments on that.
The only comment I'll make is, I think there's not one way to
Right on.
And I think that's, and one of the things that we've really tried to do, and a lot of it is through the alliance, is yelling and shouting and doing these kind of things. It's not productive conversation. And so it's, and a lot of times when you end up talking to legislators, they don't, we assume they know every intricacy you know, right? You know, if you do this, this will happen, if you do this will happen. And yeah, there's gonna be some that don't care, you know, but there's gonna be others that be like, you know, I never thought, I didn't know that. You know, I wasn't aware of that, but sometimes they get a 6,000 page document and it gets kind of summarized to that sense to where if you don't have groups that are respectfully bringing up the direct impact to a library or to a school or to something like, or to a city, then they're not aware of it, right? So, and then just think about yourself, when someone approaches you a certain way, you respond a certain way. So I get it, you know, there's different ways to advocate, but there's not one way to. And so to have the thought process that if you don't do this, you're not advocating that.
Yeah, again, it's important to know that at the end of this conversation, that those individuals are aware of those tools that were used by you as well as your staff, as well as the. Anything else on that?
But it does seem like the idea of going to the ballot with no property tax. Still that well, that's a lot of that.
Yeah, you know what, I think it's an issue that's not going anywhere. And I think it's a legitimate issue that is going to be a significant discussion, and it's not over with the budget going. And it's going to continue, and it's gonna be a big topic.
I mean, if they could get a referendum on ballot, that'd be pretty hard for the state to figure out what's the next one. The state is told to figure out the next course years go, but it hasn't happened. But citizens, who would vote for no property tax?
Sure.
So,
And then income tax is next, right?
yeah,
I mean, isn't that the other conversation? Income tax is coming down to.
Well, it's interesting because I think in our last meeting, we discussed the fact that of the property tax in Westlake, we get 49% of it.
49%.
So 51% of it went elsewhere. Does that mean that police and fire are gonna be cut?
Yeah.
Well, they're definitely, you know, income tax
library, port authority,
county.
Library.
metro parks.
So, but I do think that, there's definitely gonna be reform, and when you are a collector of 49% of anything, they're gonna reform it, you're gonna feel that. I mean, that's just what it is, but our conversations have been where, to just come in and say, we're gonna do this today. Well, you also have to understand the other side of it, is when you do take it away, then you take away opportunities we're gonna have to cut staff program. So if there's a longer runway, you know, for districts to plan, you know, alternative funding, you know, trying to figure out how you would actually move forward with it, that's more, that's just seems to be more of a way to go about it. But as far as the topic, I think the conversation is just,
Sales tax will go up to 50.
yeah, I mean, we talked about it before with property taxes, and what about townships? And, you know, that's probably not big, you know, so it's just. How you gonna fix some of those country roads, so I just think. They have to put, it sounds great. You know, but I'm not an expert in that field, so I didn't know how that would actually.
One of the things that comes at the conclusion of these conversations is that Westlake City Schools does a very good job with education. Westlake City Schools does a very good job finding sentiments of all citizens. Anything else? Any other thoughts or comments?
How did your show go?
Thank you. The art show, I think, was the best ever.
It's hot,
What's that?
hot,
It was hot.
very hot.
Right, very warm, and very warm, sunny, I like that better than big, rainstorms or hurricanes.
Yeah,
One of the really best art shows that we had, that's the Westlake Baby Lift the Art Festival. That I know the Westlake City Schools as well as Stanford Library. Collaborate to really bring the community together in Bay Village as well as Westlake, really outstanding. Great attendance, great artists.
Yeah.
This was fun.
But to Joe just mentioned great arts, and one of the bits of feedback that we received is that it wasn't totally crafty. You know, a lot of times when you go to places, it's more like a craft show than an art show, but it had a really great balance of true art as well as stuff that person who had that big art class. So I thought, Joe's a huge component of that, especially finding the artists. And that balance, I thought, was remarkable. So,
I have a question about, and I know we've talked about it before, but the arch in front of discs.
yes,
What are your plans for that?
we're actually talking about renewal. And,
It'll look good.
well,
Really, if you look at it,
here's,
you don't need it.
if we were to pull up.
Are you attached to the arch? You're very much.
Well,
What falls on your head?
here's, well, so when you get up close and personal to that, and it's really like a wall, it's got the center
Yeah.
white beam to it. And when you actually look at the outer sides of it, it's not, I mean, it looks like it was built afterwards. So it doesn't look like it was part of the original building, because it's not like your bricks don't intermingle. They are a clean cut on either side. Now, what's starting to happen is it's starting to crack and bow and those kind of things. It's not unsafe, right? So it's not going to fall, but it's something that a decision has to be made with it, to where that thing in general needs to come down. Now,
Let's go architects.
probably,
Mrs. Lesko, from Holy Elementary third grade.
yeah, but so it's one that I mean, you can put a new one up if you want. But, with that being gone, that drop down basin and those sorts of things, I agree. I think Barb may have just said it. It would be a really nice, clean look to have that off, and then it just opens right into a courtyard, and you have some nice fixtures and stuff in there that a lot of times you don't notice, because you do have that structure there. I'm sure it was tremendous, wonderful, and I will tell you, if you want us to rebuild it, we can. But it's something, that exact one there.
We move the Holly Lane cannon.
But, anyway.
I know,
The city might do it for us.
Mr. Hopkins and Mr. House, we have a good conversation about the eventual plans for that in finance,
Okay,
and
okay,
it'll continue. Our discussions.
thank you.
Other board comment. Is there a motion to adjourn to executive session for the appointment, employment dismissals? The motion for compensation of an employee or official.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Lizinski,
Yes.
Fanukin,
Yes.
Kraft,
Yes.
Lamb,
Yes.
here not.
Yes.
You're in executive session at 6:39 PM.
Board will take no action in executive session, nor will we exit. Thank you.